New York. This is the first night of our U.S. tour, rocking with First Blood, Thick as Blood for a month, coast to coast. Alright, this next song is off our new album. The album's called To the Death, and this song's called So Others Live. And it goes out to some friends of mine from Syracuse. Goes out to Jeff Watkins, goes out to Joel Capilongo. They sailed with the Sea Shepherds and directly intervened with the Japanese whaling fleet's activity down near Antarctica. The song goes out to everyone who puts their freedom, who puts their safety on the line. So others live.
You know, and like, let's travel back a little bit in time. You grew up in Syracuse. How was it growing up over there?
When we were teenagers, Syracuse was at kind of a low point economically because it was a recession. And I don't know if it was nationwide, but it definitely hit upstate New York. Like, the taxes were very high, so a lot of the businesses left. And, you know, suddenly people's dads didn't have any money anymore, or they're making a lot less money. And I think, you know, one of the main streets in Syracuse is called James. And James Street at one time had like 70% of the buildings boarded up. You know, so it was kind of a wild couple of years there where, you know, things were always dangerous in certain areas, but it was kind of out of control. You know, so to an extent we were kind of the products of that experience, but we didn't, you know, join with it. We kind of rebelled against it. You know, we never obviously gravitated to like drug gang culture or anything like that. You know, we despised it then as we do now. But I think Syracuse has improved a lot over the last 10 years or so. Like, downtown's been rebuilt. A lot of the neighborhoods have been rebuilt. The city hired a lot more police. So, I mean, things are definitely better than when we were younger.
So you were saying, obviously, Syracuse was a lot more rugged than it is today. How did that inspire you as a person, as a musician, as an artist?
Like any, you know, liberal fantasies that I had at the time, were definitely crushed. You know, we saw some of our friends who were essentially broken people for whatever reason. They slipped through the cracks, and we saw people feeding their addiction. They were there. These people that were our friends, like I said, there's no more articulate way to put it. They were ultimately, in a lot of ways, broken. They were suffering from a bad childhood or bad experiences that they'd had as an adult, and they were in kind of a weakened state, and they were reaching out for anything, and unfortunately some of them reached out for drugs, and there was people there willing to essentially kill people that we cared about for profit. And it's time for a people's uprising against the cartels, against the narco gangs, and to brand them for what they are, which is ultimately terrorists.
And I couldn't agree more with you. I grew up in Colombia, so I saw the main reason why I ended up in the U.S. was because of that kind of I got kicked out of my own country. And today when I analyze it, it's would I want to go back to that? It's no way, you know what I mean? Because you don't have any peace of mind. You have anything, and then immediately you kind of lose it. So you know what I mean? The U.S., it's been home to me for a long time. I don't see myself going anywhere, which is sad because I love my country. But as you were saying, all those things were just so negative in so many ways, you know what I mean? And the reason why I bring this up, because for me, in 1996, 97, one of my outlets was hardcore. One of the first records that somebody gave to me, or a tape at that time, was Earth Crisis. And since that day, I was reading the lyrics, and I was like, yo, this message, is strong. It's not like other bands, saying, talking about, drugs, sex, and alcohol, which is usually the formula, especially back in the 90s. So to me, it's of course, it's awesome to be here with you, talking to you. But I also want you to know that it's kind of what brought me here today is that same feeling of being you know what, you got to rebel and stand up for it. And whatever it is you're doing, whether it's through music, art, writing, whatever it is, you know what I mean? You just got to do what you need to do.